What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Busting Balls. I'm your host, Eric Pinnell. OW20 is my squirt. I do man shit, and this is a 100% wide-own podcast. How's everybody doing out there, huh? You putting titty nipples in your mouth? Let's get right into it, huh? Let's do it. Looks like Chicago's going to lose to Chicago Bears. I don't know if you've seen that. It doesn't look like the city of Chicago is trying to keep the Chicago Bears in a realistic way. Because you know why? Because these Democrat liberals are communists. I'm sorry if I just lost half the listeners just now, but I feel like it's not really much of a stretch of government liberals, which are basically communists. I know they hide behind socialism, but they're communists. They only move they know what to do is to just get in there and tax everything. Just get as much tax money out of it as they can. Instead of, I don't know, maybe thinking long run of what money you can make that's, a reasonable amount. I don't know. The Bears are talking about possibly going to Indiana, which is just right over the border. They're going to Hammond, Indiana, possibly, or wherever else they can point to. I hope it's not Gary. That place is a shithole. And look, I love the people of Gary, but your town's shit if you live there and you're getting upset about it. And you can't lie about it. Not saying there's no good people there, but when you drive through Gary, Indiana, I've driven through Gary, Indiana many times every year, okay? And when you drive through Gary, Indiana, it looks like nobody's in charge. Like you drive through their downtown or you go, who's in charge of this place? They got potholes the size of your vehicle. I mean, that's how big it is where you go, put a metal plate over it or something. Like, this ain't responsible. That's what Gary, Indiana looks like. So I hope the Bears aren't going there. I hope that's not a wise idea. Although it would probably bring a lot of jobs to Gary, Indiana, just like it would do leaving the Chicago Bears in Chicago. I don't understand how Chicago, the city of Chicago, can spend over $600 million on migrants since 2022, which I get it, $600 million on the migrants, which is basically just, you might as well just flush it, okay? I know the Democrats and the liberals and all the bleeding hearts always want to go, we're getting that money back. We're getting that money back in just the workers and what they bring to the table. No, you're not. And if you do, how long does that take to get back the $600 million that you spent in 3.5 to 4 years? You spent $600 million on migrants. How long does that take to get back? Because you're not getting that money back. That money is gone. You ain't going to be able to tax them $600 million. I mean, I get it. You brought in a lot of them, but you ain't taxing them $600 million. Hell, even more that they're here, you're talking about you want to do more programs to help them. How much does that cost? So the number keeps going up. And I get it. You're not going to build a stadium for the Chicago Bears for $600 million. That's either $3 billion to maybe $5 billion to build a modern day stadium for these NFL teams. But it's a decent fraction of what you could have paid for the stadium. First of all, it just shows you how short-sighted that these liberal communists are. How short-sighted they are. By that stadium leaving Chicago, good luck with that, buddy. I'm not even that smart of a guy, and I see all the income that you're losing off that. First of all, let me take a drink of water. First of all, Chicago, you're losing a stadium possibly, and an NFL team. They're leaving your town. The Chicago Bears are possibly going to leave your town. And the city of Chicago are so short-sighted because all they know is just to tax and get in there and just rake all the money out that they can. That's all they worry about is just trying to rake as much money out of businesses and just anything the liberal government gets a hold of. They're just trying to rake as much money out of that thing as possible. That's why they're always trying to rake money out of the government. They go, oh, let's rake all this money. Who cares? They do it. They always go, they do it, which I'm not saying they don't do it at all either, whoever they are. But it's so short-sighted. First of all, Chicago, if you just keep the Chicago Bears there, think about how much money you're making off the restaurants that people are going to before the games and after the games. The bars that they're going to after the games and before the games. Think about all the vendors that you can tax on top of the restaurants and bars. Think about all the parking, all the real estate, all the Airbnbs that people take advantage of that. All the growth that goes around NFL stadiums. I don't know if you've been listening, but, what happened on this last Super Bowl. Dude, you listen to all the experts. Go find the Michael Irvin video of him saying that the Super Bowl should never go back to San Francisco. You know why? because it was like dead city there. It was dead city because you know why? Because San Francisco killed that city with those liberal communists already. They've already killed that city. I used to walk around San Francisco in the early 2000s and go, this is a great American city. Great American city. Very clean. Money there. It just was like, I don't even use the word vibrant, but I mean, it was colorful. It was beautiful. Now, dead. Because guess what? The communists have killed it. They've chased out all the businesses. They've killed all the restaurants. I know they go, it was COVID that did that. No, it was you that did that. You and your government policies have no idea. You have no idea how to make money. Liberal communists only know how to take money. They don't know how to make money. They don't know how to, like they always say, they don't sign fronts of paychecks. They sign the backs of them, and they rake it out from governments and tax money and handouts. That's their bread and butter of what they are. So Chicago's going to leave this great city the Chicago Bears are going to leave the great city of Chicago, which the great city of Chicago could be greater. They should be walking around with hats that are saying make Chicago great again, because Chicago is a great American city. But the longer you keep voting in these communist liberals every year, I mean, first of all, how bad was it? I've said it before. How bad was Lori Lightfoot when you're a black, lesbian, Democrat mayor in the city of Chicago and you can't get reelected? That's how bad you were. But guess what? You just elect this dipshit that he's basically the same thing but dumber. I really think this Brandon Johnson is way more dumber than freaking Lori Lightfoot. And then you had Rahm Emanuel, which was terrible, just dumb, and another guy that wasn't that good. But at least he was a cut above him. Nobody was better than the Dailies. Nobody was better. Nobody was better than Harold Washington. Everybody that talks about Harold Washington, great mayor. Okay? Most people that talk about Dailies, great mayor. Yeah, they had their problems. They're running this corrupt city. You don't think you're going to run into bumps and bruises in Chicago with all these corrupt freaking Democrats and all the organizations that want their hand in a pocket, and you ain't giving us enough of this and you ain't giving us enough of that? Get out of here. Chicago is, if they let the Chicago Bears go, they deserve that. What do? I know it sounds silly, but if Chicago Bears move to Indiana, are they now the Indiana Bears? Or do you still call them the Chicago Bears? I don't like that. I don't like if a team is going to another state. And I don't care if the state's only 35, 40 minutes that way from where it was before. I don't care if it's on the border. If it's not in Chicago, you can't call it the Chicago Bears no more. Nobody's going to believe that anymore. And then what? That fan base loses? The Chicago fan base loses their team to Indiana? That's a slap in the face for Chicago people. That is a slap in the face. And nothing against Indiana. That's a great state. Nothing against Indiana. But that's a slap in the face. First of all, look, I've been living in Chicagoland since 2005, okay? It's over 20 years. All right, I've owned a house in Chicago. Not anymore. We sold 5 years ago. We moved to better lands in Illinois, in Chicagoland. But, dude, it's an insult to a lot of Chicagoans to even move to Indiana. Like, my wife was born and raised 79th and Pulaski. And to ask her, I've asked her before in the years before where I go, it's cheaper right over the Indiana border. It's like an insult to Chicago people to even consider moving to Indiana. It's like a step back, let alone taking the Chicago Bears to Indiana. It was bad enough they were going to take it to Arlington Heights. At least it's staying in Illinois. And at least that's, a Chicago suburb, at least. It's a bit of a drive, but it's at least more understandable. For these guys to move the Chicago Bears to Indiana, that doesn't make any sense. The city of Chicago needs to get their shit together, but guess what? They're not going to get their shit together. All right. It's just not going to happen. It's a fact. They're going to continue to do dumb moves. They've done so many dumb moves. First of all, years ago, I'm pretty sure Rahm Emanuel, he's the one that sold the parking meters. He sold Chicago's parking. So when you park in Chicago on the streets and you go up to the little box, Rahm Emanuel sold that. Because I think he was trying to gather up money to possibly for Chicago to get the Olympics. Guess what? They didn't get the Olympics. And he also had those things sold. And now they don't even make the revenue off that. That's how stupid they are. You know why? Because they don't run businesses. They don't run businesses. It's just like Mondami or whatever the hell his name is in New York that goes, you're going to get this free, you're going to get this free, you're going to get this free. Not even a month and a half of him being in there, he's already like, we're going to raise the taxes on people that make 122,000 or less or more. It's so instantly. It's because you're getting people. It's classic DEI, which they don't like hearing that, but it's classic DEI. They want it to look a certain way. They go, that's how we want it to look. And most people, like I've said before, they go, yeah, that looks cool. That looks cool. But do they know how to operate anything? Have they ever operated a business? Do they know how to operate large-scale organizations? No, they've never done that before. They've never had a job, really. I mean, like the lady in Seattle and this dipshit in New York, Mondani or whatever. And then they get them over there, and then they wonder why it doesn't run efficiently. Name one American city that's ran by Democrats name one, and everybody always goes Austin. Name one great American city besides Austin, Texas, which it's surrounded by Republicans and conservatives. And name one great American city that Democrats run that runs great, that looks great. Name one. I dare you. That's not Austin, because you always go to Austin and you go, okay, you got one that's surrounded by conservatives, and it's in a conservative state for the most part. Name one. Because is it Philadelphia? No. Is it New York? Clearly not. Is it San Francisco? Nope. Is it Portland? Nope. It's not that either. Where's it at? Is it Chicago? Again, I said people should be walking around with "Make Chicago Great Again" hats. I'm not saying that towns like this have to elect Republicans and conservatives. I don't even like running with straight Republicans. It is a ridiculous thought. I'm just trying to run with the people that have common sense. I'm trying to run with the people that make good business decisions and have to make adult decisions, okay? Some people, you can't be the parent that just gives everybody everything, and you can't, sometimes tell the kids no. They don't want to tell the kids no. They don't want to tell the kids, like, look, we're going to punish you for doing this, and we're going to reward you for doing that. They don't want to do that because all these politicians are constantly trying to get their next job. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to make as much money while they're in there. That's why they're doing insider trading with the Congress and all those senators. They're all doing insider trading. It should be illegal. It's disgusting that they allow that on all sides. Democrats, Republicans, it's disgusting because that's the main reason why they're there. They're doing insider trading. Look at their bank account numbers go up, okay? Tremendously, all right? So that's one reason why they do it, and they're constantly trying to look for their next job. These politicians on all sides are not trying to really do a great job. They're not there. They're basically running out the clock. They're doing photo ops. They're saying the classic things that make each side, where they pat them on the head and they go, good job, good job. You know what I'm saying? The liberal communists are always going, men can have babies and trans have rights. And that's a clump of cells. Whatever all the catchphrases are, how it's like, everybody deserves health care, even the migrants. And they go, okay, duh. Who wouldn't want everybody to have health care? Can we afford it? But they don't care about that. They just want to say the words where they get patted on the head and they go, good boy, good boy. And they're running out the clock and they're looking for their next job. That's what they're doing. Hands down. That's what they're doing. There's very few that are actually swinging for the fences and that go, look, we got to fix this. Because you know what? Those people don't get elected. Like I said, every podcast, the good people don't even run for office because you know why? As soon as they say, yeah, you know what? I've made a lot of money out here. I kind of know how to operate things. And I'm a common sense person that loves most all people. And I got some beliefs and I got some morals. And those people, as soon as they start running for election, guess what? The whole snake machine starts moving, and they go. They start bringing up how your sister-in-law was an alcoholic in college, and how your dad one time was a conscientious objector for the Vietnam War or something like that. And then they paint you like you're not, you're a terrible person. And then by the time that good person that was going to run for office and probably run this whole thing nice and smooth and had to get in that snake pit with all these politicians and all this world of the politicians that's a snake pit, they just step out of there and they go, you know what? You could have it. You could have it, and so yeah, and that's where Chicago's at. I hope the Chicago Bears do not leave, but if they do leave, they deserved it. They deserve to leave. Okay, Chicago does not deserve this team if they don't get this right. Okay, you just don't. I don't understand how you don't take care of your sports teams. I was born and raised in Akron, Ohio. I seen my Cleveland Browns leave in the middle of the night when Art Modell ripped them from that city because he couldn't get a new stadium. Which I get it, Art. I understand why your dipshit ass wanted to move there, and then you move it to Baltimore, and then a few years later, Baltimore wins the Super Bowl. I get that. But for a team to get moved out of their town, it's like ripping your heart out, okay? If the Chicago Bears leaves this city and it goes to another state, it's going to rip the heart out of Chicago Bears fans, and they don't deserve that. They've been great fans for a long time. But these communist Democrats, they don't care. They don't care. Before I get out of here, I want to talk about what the hell's going on with Shia LaBeouf or whatever the hell his name is, LaBeouf. How you say his name? Shia LaBeouf? I don't know. You see those videos of that dude fighting in New Orleans? I mean, I get it, dude. You're getting a little drunked up. He looked real drunk. And, he just looked that. I don't know if he was, but I assume he was. And then he starts fighting people. It's like, bud, is your mental illness that bad? Are you just a terrible drunk? And you just can't drink, and every time you drink you want to fight. I grew up with guys like that. I grew up with a couple guys in my neighborhood that you couldn't get them drunk because they want to fight. And you go, dude, I'm not fighting with you. I've known you since you were 8 years old, and I'm not going to get in a fist fight with you when we're 18 and 21. I just ain't going to do it. You can't hold your liquor. You don't know how to drink. You got some insecurities going on in you. And I don't know. I don't know why this guy would be out there fighting. And, he had a crowd of people put him to the ground because they're just trying to control him in a responsible way. He's lucky. I mean, they tuned him up a little bit, but it seemed like the guy had it coming. It's like, buddy, stop drinking. There's people like this guy, and there's many others, lots of people that have no business drinking. Okay. You have no business drinking. Stop it. You're no good at it. You're not good at drinking. Stop it. It's like people that do drugs. Stop doing the drugs. You're no good at it. It's like people that are having a ton of babies with 6 different, 7 different, 8 different chicks. It's like, stop having babies. You're no good at this. You're not good at it, dude. Get fixed. Go get a vasectomy. There's things, I've always told this to people, and I don't know if the world gets it, but as a man, I play keep away from things. Okay? I just do. I play keep away. That's what's actually got me this far in my life, that I've learned how to play keep away. I've always said it. You know what? I'm a married guy. I don't have friends that are females anymore. I don't have that. I'm not friends with females, and once I got married, because you know what? I'm only human. And I don't need to have good friends with females that laugh at my jokes and know my inside baseball. And I get in a room with them. And next thing you know, I'm only human. I'm grabbing ass and kissing on them. And I'm ruining my life because I'm a married guy, a happily married guy with a family. So I play keep away from that. And I play keep away from drugs. I don't put myself in rooms with drugs because I play keep away from that. I'm only human, and a lot of drugs are a lot of fun. And same thing with guys. There's guys that I bump into all the time, that over the years that are my type of guys, but they're a little bit wild. Their life is a little bit reckless. I'm a family man now. I can't be around those guys, so I have to play keep away from guys like that. I've had to tell guys that were my buddies over years where I can't mess with you no more. And they ask me why, and I go, because you're in rooms with things like that, and you're in rooms with people like that. And I just, you know what? I'll be the one that I'll be in a room with something like that, or I'll be in a room with people like that, and I'm the one that steps in poop. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that, that somehow gets in trouble with it because that's just my luck. So I play keep away, okay? And there's people like Shia LaBeouf or whatever the hell his name is, that he needs to play keep away from things. Okay. It's time to grow up, bud. I mean, this guy's, what are you, 40 years old? You're a celebrity. You've had some of the best life out there and some of the best opportunities. And I get it. It's been rough for you, bud, like everybody else, where they go, that was a boo-boo and that hurt my belly. And that was, it really got me up here. Yeah, everybody's got that. Everybody's got that. I mean, we got to cry about it all day? We going to cry about it? I mean, or you just going to go, yep, that sucked, and let's move forward. And we say to ourselves, future, not past, okay? Future, not past. I got drunks in my family forever that are always talking about something that they did a long time ago as they drink and drink and drink, and they go, that's making me sad. Guess what, bud? You can't change that at all, okay? Yes, we can look at it and go, that was a bad idea. I went right and I should have went left. But the only thing you could change is the future, all right? You can't change the past. All right. That's why I always tell myself future, not past. All right. It's all you can do. All we can do is make great decisions today. That's it. That's all you do. You wake up and you go, look, I'm going to make great decisions today. I'm going to do my best to do that. Okay. And if I do make a mistake, I didn't mean that to happen, but it happened. Okay. And it's not the end of the world unless it's the end of the world. I mean, I got a hair on my tongue. But this guy, man, Shia LaBeouf is just freaking. It's like, bud, you got some issues, bud. I don't know, and I think he's got. Still got a hair on my tongue. He's got like a family, and I think, right? Doesn't this guy got kids? I couldn't imagine a guy out there that's so much in the public. Hell, I'm just saying, even people that aren't in the public. I mean, I don't care if you're a celebrity or not. If you got children and you got a wife out there, don't be out there embarrassing your wife and your kids. Okay, I look again. Some people can say I'm embarrassing my wife and kids on this right now because you don't agree with my opinions on the liberal communists, because that's what they are. They always say they're socialists, but you ain't socialist. You know why you don't call yourselves communists out in public? Because you know it ain't pretty yet. You know, now you finally got used to calling yourself socialist because you go, oh, they don't say anything when we call ourselves socialists. That's why you call yourself socialist. But all your ideas, they're all attached to communism. You really would love to do that. You just can't do it yet. But you would love to try doing that. I know you always like to point to the conservatives that they'd want to do that. But you guys are the real ones that want to. That's why you see all these white ladies. Yeah, I tell you what, man. All I see on Twitter, like I've always said, is just angry white liberals on Twitter just yelling. Just they got the eyes and they got the nose ring and stuff. And a lot of bitches off their leash. I mean, there's a lot of bitches off their leash right now that need to get back. You need to get back on your leash, bitch. You need to get back to your yard, okay? You're off your leash, bitch. Get over there. But no, nobody's going to tell them that. You know, there's some beta male out there saying, you're good, honey. Boy, that was a good video that you did. Oh, yeah, it was a good video that she did where she's basically calling for civil war. Yeah, I love all the women out there calling for civil war. Guess what? When it comes down to that, hopefully it never does, but when the civil war starts popping off, guess what? It ain't going to be all these women shooting at each other. It's going to be the guys shooting at each other, and then we're going to be, it's going to be us offing each other, and then it's going to be a terrible thing. So, ladies, just pump your brakes, all right? You don't know about war, and you don't want anything to do with war, okay? But that's all you see on Twitter is just angry liberals with their eyes and their nose ring. Why do they always have the nose ring? I don't understand that. And then they're always bragging about, like, abortions. Why are there women out there bragging about that they got 5 abortions? You know that's not healthy for you. I eventually, when you want to have kids, maybe with that dirty pussy ears, you know they could go up in there and scratch your uterus wall and all the other stuff I don't know about, and that can cause you to not have babies. I don't know if that's like a thought in your head. I know you've had 5 abortions, that you're bragging. Lily, what's her name on a podcast is the singer's bragging about having 5 abortions. 5 abortions. Who would even do that? I get it. Yeah, you have sex with a dirty Puerto Rican guy or some dirty white guy from a trailer park and you go, I don't want to have a kid by him. I go get an abortion. But there's ladies out there that's had 5 abortions? Come on. You ever heard of Plan B, honey? You ever heard of, I don't know, protection? How about that, herpy girl? God, it's disgusting. I got to get out of here, man. This is over here ranting. Shia LaBeouf, you need to get some help, bud. You are in big trouble out there, pal. I mean, big trouble. Before I get out of here, I want to talk about how Tyreek Hill got cut from the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if I talked about that last podcast, but I think that's good for Tyreek Hill. I think there's a couple landing spots that Tyreek Hill probably should, because I think now he can decide where he wants to go. It's probably his last contract. I don't even know if it's a big contract. I would assume he's going to lose some speed off that knee injury. And I'm not hating on him. It's just a fact. I think he's 32 years old, and Tyreek Hill's going to lose some speed off that injury. And but if he was picking a couple teams, Buffalo Bills probably needs him the best, the most. Maybe going to the Rams. Who knows? Maybe you go back up to Seattle or something like that and play for, on the cheap or something like that. I don't know. I'd be going to a contender. I wouldn't be going back to Kansas City. I know you know those ways, but I don't think going back to Kansas City. To be honest with you, I think Kansas City is actually on the downswing. I know that doesn't sound like the popular thing to do. I know Mahomes is hurt and he's going to come back and all his fan base thinks he's going to be, the Tom Brady record beater. And I don't know if that's really what's going to happen. I think it was a possibility at one time, but I see some real holes in Kansas City's game. And I just don't know if Kansas City's going to come back up to. They got some salary cap problems in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, they just, restructured his contract, and I still think they're $8 million above the cap, even restructuring him just days ago. So, I think Tyreek Hill could be a problem, on the right team. I think he's probably got 2 years left in him. I think he's probably got another injury left in him. It could be one of those Odell Beckham situations where, once these guys that are especially like high athletes, they get to a certain age, they start getting injured a lot because they're no spring chicken. Okay. It's just the way it is. He was a great athlete. He still is a great athlete, but he definitely ain't worth all the money that he probably thinks he's worth, but he'll probably get a decent amount of money. But we will see. Guys, Busted Balls Podcast. Hope everything's good out there, man. Hope everybody in your family's healthy. I hope you're putting titty nipples in your mouth, grabbing ass. Hope you're getting laid. Ugh. I got laid on Valentine's Day. That's the best, right? You ever get laid? When you get laid on Valentine's Day, you go, this is where it's at. That's like, I don't know what it is. You go, yeah, this is like the good day to get laid. For all that, that's probably all those angry women out there on Twitter that are always complaining. They're not getting laid on Valentine's Day. That's what it is, right? I bet a lot of those angry liberals with their nose ring, if they just got laid more and, and probably had kids, it's like, God, do any of these ladies have kids? Like, if you had kids, why would you be embarrassing yourself on the internet like that? That's what tells me that a lot of these angry liberal communists don't have kids. And they don't, because they're all having 5 abortions and stuff like that. And they could have had kids, but they killed them all through a $300 doctor bill or a free bill at Planned Parenthood. And then Planned Parenthood took their organs and they sell them for a lot of money. And let's not get into that. You won't get any views off that. Guys, hope everything's good. Bustin' Balls Podcast. Keep listening. Hope everything's good. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Bye now.